All right, welcome back. So you wanted to learn more about red meat and cancer and send over this press release about a study in cancer discovery from some researchers over in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
It says they found a link,
Uh-huh.
maybe even a potential new treatment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is looking like some seriously compelling stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, for years we've known there's like this correlation between red meat consumption and colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
But this study seems to actually point to a mechanism,
Right.
a specific way that iron from red meat could actually be fueling the growth of cancer cells.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Yeah.
They're talking about telomerase, which I kind of remember from biology class.
Okay.
It's like something to do with cells aging, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, think of it this way. Every time a cell divides the telomeres, which are like these little protective caps on the ends of chromosomes,
Okay.
they get a bit shorter, and eventually they get so short the cell just can't divide anymore. It dies. It's like a built-in expiration date.
Got it. But cancer cells, they kind of don't play by the rules, do they?
No. They've figured out how to turn on this enzyme called telomerase,
Okay.
which basically rebuilds those telomeres. So it's like they found the fountain of youth. They're making themselves basically immortal.
So where does the red meat come into this?
Well, the study found that iron,
Okay.
specifically the type that we get from red meat, seems to reactivate telomerase in these cancer cells.
Oh, wow.
It's like giving them an extra boost of immortality.
Really?
Yeah, allowing them to just grow and spread unchecked.
Now, hold on. Didn't the article also mention that someone disagreed with this link
You're right.
between red meat and cancer? We need to be fair here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's important to consider different perspectives. You know,
Mhm.
scientific research is always evolving, and it's rare to have just one study that proves anything definitively.
Uh-huh.
But I think even that dissenting opinion just highlights that this is a complex issue, and we need to be careful about jumping to conclusions.
Fair enough. But even with that caveat, this is still a pretty groundbreaking study,
It is.
right? Especially when you consider that potential treatment they discovered.
Yeah, it's definitely promising.
Yeah.
They found this molecule called SP2509,
Okay.
and it can actually block this iron telomerase interaction.
Really?
So in lab tests, they found not only did it stop the reactivation of telomerase,
Oh.
but it actually shrank tumors.
So it's like a shrunkinator.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now, of course, this is still early research,
Sure.
but the idea of a targeted therapy
Uh-huh.
that specifically disrupts this cancer mechanism,
Right.
that is really exciting.
So FT2509, it just swoops in and stops the iron from giving those cancer cells the immortality boost.
Exactly.
Wow.
And what's impressive is that the researchers use a combination of human cancer cell lines
Uh-huh.
and actual patient samples to test this theory.
Right.
They even went a step further and used some advanced laboratory models to really pinpoint the exact mechanisms at work. This wasn't just some random observation.
Uh-huh.
It was a well-designed and very thorough investigation.
And they mentioned this program in Singapore,
Yes.
Coloscripty. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Coloscripty.
Coloscripty.
Yeah.
And it's going to build on these findings to try to understand different subtypes of colorectal cancer.
Right.
I'm guessing that's important because, like, not all cancers are created equal, right?
Absolutely. Colorectal cancer, like a lot of cancers.
Uh-huh.
It isn't just one disease. It's a collection of subtypes
Okay.
that can behave very differently.
Oh, wow.
And understanding those nuances is crucial for developing more effective
Right.
and personalized treatments.
Uh-huh.
That's where Coloscripty comes in.
Okay.
They're trying to sort of unravel those mysteries
Yeah.
so we can target treatments more precisely.
This is already so much more than I expected. Who
Mhm.
knew there was this whole, like, microscopic world?
No, right? Of telomeres and enzymes just like battling it out inside our bodies.
Yeah.
And now I'm wondering if iron from red meat is kind of like the bad guy here.
Okay.
Where else do we get iron and how much is too much?
That's a great question. And it's important to remember that iron is an essential nutrient.
Right.
We need it to function properly.
Yeah.
The key is getting it from a variety of sources.
Okay.
Not just red meat.
Right.
Plant-based foods like lentils, spinach, beans.
Yeah.
They're all good sources of iron.
Okay.
And they come with a bunch of other health benefits, too.
Okay, so this is good news for the vegetarians. But what about the rest of us who enjoy a good steak now and then?
Right.
Does this research mean that we need to completely eliminate red meat from our diets?
Not necessarily.
No.
It's all about balance and moderation.
Okay.
This study doesn't mean we have to become vegetarians overnight,
Right.
but it does underscore how important it is to understand how our food choices can impact our health.
Right.
both positively and negatively.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's not about demonizing one specific food group.
Right.
It's about being aware of the potential risks and benefits.
Yeah.
And making informed decisions that are right for like our individual circumstances.
Exactly.
Now I'm even more curious
Yeah.
about how this iron telomerase interaction actually works on a molecular level.
Okay.
The article mentions something about a protein called pintrin.
Ah, yes. Pitrin. That's where things get really interesting. It's like a domino effect. Pitrin is this protein that binds to iron. And the researchers think it acts like kind of a middleman in this whole telomerase reactivation process.
Okay.
So when iron from red meat enters the picture, it latches onto pintrin.
And then what? Does pintrin go run over to telomerase and say, hey, wake up, time to party?
Well, not exactly like that. But yeah, you got the basic idea. It's like this chain reaction.
Okay.
So when iron binds to pintrin, it changes its shape.
Uh-huh.
That shape-shifting pintrin then interacts with other molecules in the cell.
All right.
And ultimately sends a signal that reactivates the telomerase.
Okay, so it's more like a molecular relay race than a party.
Right.
Iron passes the baton to pyrrin, who then triggers a cascade of events that wakes up telomerase.
Exactly.
But if that's the case, why is SP2509 so special? How does it manage to, disrupt this whole process?
Well, what's fascinating about SP2509 is that it competes with iron for that binding spot on pyrrin.
Oh, okay.
It's like a game of molecular musical chairs.
Okay.
And SP2509 is determined to grab that seat before iron does.
Got it.
And if SP2509 wins, that whole chain reaction leading to telomerase reactivation is stopped in its tracks.
So it's like SP2509 is a bodyguard for our cells, protecting them from the potentially harmful effects of iron from red meat. It's incredible to think that scientists can actually design molecules that can intervene at such a specific point in this really complex cellular process.
It really is a testament to the ingenuity of scientific research.
Yeah.
And what's even more remarkable is that the researchers actually tested thousands of different molecules before they found SP2509.
Really?
It was like finding a needle in a haystack.
Wow. Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
But let's step back for a second. You mentioned earlier that this research doesn't necessarily mean we need to swear off red meat forever.
Right.
So how do we apply these findings to our everyday lives? What's the takeaway for those of us who enjoy a juicy burger now and then?
Well, I think the most important message here is the importance of balance and variety in our diets.
Okay.
Iron is essential.
Right.
But we can get it from many sources, not just red meat.
Right.
Plant-based foods like lentils, spinach, beans, they're all packed with iron and other nutrients that are beneficial for our health.
That makes sense. So it's not about completely eliminating red meat, but being mindful of our consumption and making sure we're getting iron from different sources.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Every meal is an opportunity to nourish your body and support your health.
I like that.
Yeah.
Every meal is an opportunity. It takes the focus away from restriction and puts it on making positive choices.
Right.
But let's be honest. There's a lot of conflicting information out there about diet and health.
Yeah.
How do we navigate all the noise and make informed decisions?
That's a great question. One thing to keep in mind is that research is always evolving. What we know today might be different from what we know tomorrow.
Right.
It's important to stay informed, but also to be critical of what you read and hear.
So we should be wary of any headlines that scream, "This food will cure cancer," or "This food is the devil."
Exactly. Look for credible sources of information like reputable scientific journals or organizations like the World Health Organization.
Okay.
And remember that a balanced approach is usually the best approach.
And if we're ever unsure, talking to a healthcare professional or a registered dietitian is always a good idea.
Absolutely.
They can help us personalize our approach to nutrition.
Yeah.
Based on our individual needs and goals.
They can help cut through the confusion.
Right.
And provide evidence-based guidance. Remember, knowledge is power. The more we understand about how our bodies work and how our choices impact our health, the better equipped we are to make decisions that support our well-being.
Speaking of knowledge, this deep dive has opened my eyes to a whole new world I never knew existed.
Yeah.
This intricate dance of molecules and cellular processes happening inside us every second.
Right.
It makes you realize how much we still don't know.
That's the beauty of science. There's always more to discover, more to learn.
Yeah.
This study is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding the complex relationship between diet, iron, and cancer. But it's an important piece.
Yeah.
And it opens up new avenues for research and potential treatments.
It also makes me wonder what other hidden dangers might be lurking in our everyday lives that we're not even aware of. Are there other seemingly harmless things that could be impacting our health in ways we don't fully understand?
That's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
And it highlights the importance of ongoing research and scientific exploration. We're constantly learning new things about ourselves and the world around us.
Yeah.
Who knows what other fascinating discoveries await us?
This deep dive started with a press release about a single study.
Yeah.
But it's really opened up like a whole universe of questions and possibilities. Now I'm thinking about all the future deep dives we could do, exploring the latest advancements in cancer research, or maybe even diving into the ethical considerations of scientific studies.
Those are all excellent avenues for further exploration. Yeah. And who knows what other fascinating discoveries await us.
Right.
Perhaps we'll uncover new insights into the human microbiome and its role in cancer development.
Right.
Or the potential of personalized nutrition plans based on individual genetic profiles.
The possibilities are truly endless. And that's what makes being a lifelong learner so exciting.
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover, something to challenge our understanding, something to ignite our curiosity.
Right.
But for now, I think we've covered a lot of ground on this particular deep dive.
We certainly have. We've explored the fascinating connection between red meat iron and cancer, delved into the intricate molecular mechanisms involved,
right,
and even discussed practical takeaways for making informed choices about our health.
Yeah, it feels like we've gone from like a single research article to this whole expansive view of how our bodies work.
Right.
And the choices that we make and like the future of health.
Absolutely. It's a great example of how a deep dive can really broaden your perspective.
Yeah.
And, you know, that comment from that dissenting reader, it's a good reminder that even in science, there's not always one definitive answer.
Right. It would be easy to get like caught up in the excitement of this study.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, problem solved. We found the magic bullet.
Yeah.
But the reality is so much more complex.
It is. We need to be cautious about drawing huge conclusions from a single study. I mean, this research is incredibly promising.
Right.
But it's just the beginning of a much longer journey.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps for researchers in this field?
Well, for one, they need to conduct more studies to confirm these findings and see if they hold true in larger populations. And then there's the whole process of developing SP2509 into a safe and effective treatment that could take years of clinical trials.
It makes you appreciate the patience and persistence required in scientific research.
Oh, yeah.
It's not always about instant breakthroughs.
Right.
It's about slowly chipping away at the unknown.
Yeah.
And building this solid foundation of knowledge.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, we can all take steps to be more mindful of our health.
Right.
This study highlights the fact that even seemingly small choices, like what we decide to put on our plates, can have a big ripple effect on our well-being.
So what's like one key takeaway that you hope listeners will walk away with from this deep dive?
I think it's the power of informed decision-making.
Okay.
We don't have to be passive bystanders when it comes to our health. We can empower ourselves with knowledge.
Right.
Seek out credible sources of information.
Yeah.
And make choices that align with our values and goals.
It's like you said earlier, every meal is an opportunity.
Yes.
An opportunity to nourish our bodies, support our health, and maybe even influence the activity of those tiny little telomeres.
Well said. And remember, this deep dive is just a starting point.
Right.
There's a whole world of fascinating information out there just waiting to be explored.
It is.
Keep asking questions, stay curious, and keep diving deep.
Well, thank you so much for guiding us through this complex topic.
Oh, you're welcome.
I feel like I've learned so much.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to share the wonders of science.
And to all of our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and empowered you to make informed choices about your health. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.